Okay, hello there. Welcome to this short demo for the eJustice system. What we are going to do in the next 15 to 20 minutes or half an hour is to present you with a short walkthrough of the product that we have put together. This product is basically going to showcase the development that we have done for the eJustice system. Um, Having said that, moving on, this is the logon screen, or this is the landing page in which the user would arrive when the user uses this system. The landing page consists of the admin login and also the user login. In the user logon screen, there is an option called as create account. When you click on create account, you're presented with two options. One is you get a register option, and you also get a tab called as an organization. In the register option, you have the option to register as a solicitor, barrister, or a self-representative. These are the three options that are presently available in the system. And if you register as a solicitor, then you also are informed by the system to register yourself as an organization. In your organization, you put in down your organization name, your registration details, nothing but the SIN, your website URL, your admin email. The reason you are asked or requested for the admin email is because your administrator gets the notification for your organization. And once your administrator gets the notification and the credentials, he or she can automatically create additional users for your organization in the system. This option is not presented for the barrister, and it's not presented for the self-representative. For the purpose of this demo, what we have done is we've created two companies or two firms which are basically already registered, and in addition to that, we have also created users who are also activated against these firms. These are the firms that has been registered, and the users are also listed there. The key items are the SIN numbers are inputted, all the information is captured, and one key difference to note is that as a firm, once you're registered, you see on the left hand window where you see users as an option. And when you are basically registered as an individual barrister or registered as an individual claimant, you would not be getting this option for this particular user approvals. So the idea of user approvals is only when you are registered as a firm. Moving along, once the firm is registered, the next step the user will basically proceed to is the user can log on and create a case or a claim. And for the purpose of this particular demo, we would be using the username Sabrish at i2sts.com, and he's going to basically log in with his username password. And once he logs in, he would be arriving on his landing page, which highlights the different information in there. So from this page, we would be going to filing a case. So you would be selecting a case form. The user would be selecting a case form, and in this case form, for particularly this demo purposes, we have created a form number 23A. So you would be selecting a form number 23A, and in which you are basically filing a civil case. And you have the option of filing both the civil case and the criminal case. For the purpose of demo, we've created this description as the civil case for 23A to be used when the civil case where a dispute is less than 50K USD. Now, in this civil case form, you can see different sections. One is you have the case files, one is you have the claimant, the defendants. We would go through this one by one to file the case. So let's start with uploading the documents. We would basically select a document. You can choose a single file or a multiple file. For the example of this demo, we are basically loading a couple of documents. In this case, we are loading a passport, which is a verification document, and we've also loaded an agreement, which is a document which is a legal type document. So we select the document type. One is the legal document and one is the passport document, which is an identification document. Now, once you've selected these two documents, you click on the upload button and the documents get uploaded into the system, and you click on OK and it moves forward through the process. Now, for this particular product, which we are showcasing right now, is a work in progress. So currently you can see the file names coming with GUIDs, which could basically be reworked to any form or any names that we want, which are all part of the setup that we will be showcasing in a different demo. For this particular demo, it's basically utilizing whatever we have given as standard. Now, moving along, we are now going to add a claimant, and the claimant for this case will be Robert, and we will be entering his email address, and we will be entering his phone number, and in the case of defendant, we are going to call him Jeff, and we will be using his email address and his phone number. Now, this case form also contains additional fields, and it basically highlights the purpose of filing a claim. And the purpose of filing a claim, we're going to, for this demo purpose, we're going to call it as dispute of financial transaction between two parties. To the sum of 20K USD. So in the date of dispute, we basically select the day of dispute. So we're going to select March 1st for this demo purpose. Is there any witness for dispute? There is an option. If you select yes, you can enter the different witness details. For this demo, we are going to select no. Are there any legal paperwork involved? You can select yes, and we have already uploaded the legal document. We also have the option, this is just for showcasing that we also have the option whether the defendant is a local or an NRI, and we basically select he's a local. If you select an NRI, it would ask you for additional documents so that you can upload the information into the system safely and it is maintained in the system. So we've said that the dispute value is 20K, so 20,000 USD. And we basically go to save the information. So that's your basic case form, which gets filled when a claim is filed in the system. Now the system is basically saving the information, and this information is now going to be stored in the backend, which is a database. And once we store, it's now going to display a particular version of the file claim that has been filed, and the status of the claim is now being highlighted as draft. And you also notice that there is a number that has already been assigned to this particular claim that has been filed, and this is the number. It's a system generated number. It can be customized to whatever requirement is there as per the needs of the deployment. Right now we basically set it up in a hash code. This particular claim right now is in the draft status. This claim only will get to the approved status, as you see above on the first line, once it passes through the approval process, once it goes through the validation by the different layers that has already been configured. So for the purpose of this demo, we have configured 2-layer approvals. One is basically a layer of approval where the court document clerk reviews this particular file and he or she approves this document. And the second layer of approval is the registry administrator, who would basically be approving this document. So these are the 2 layers that is involved, and When we press the submit button, this is now going to go for the first layer of approval. As you see, we've already pressed the submit. Now it's now being sent to the document clerk for approval. So it's now the status is reflecting as pending for approval. Moving along, we are now going to log in into the system, log out of the system, and log in as the document clerk, such that we can approve this particular case that has been filed to showcase the entire process. As you see, once you log in, you are getting an option for case form approvals. There are different options in that screen. It's got solicitor, barrister, and self-representative. The solicitor comes in when you are registered as a firm. The barrister comes in when you are registered as an individual. And if you're doing a self-representation, it is basically self-explanatory. Now, if you see the case that has been filed and it is pending for approval is visible for this particular document clerk, and he or she can now review it, review the details, review each and every document that has been attached, review who's filing the case and who is defending the case, and now decide whether this is good enough. If it is good enough, then he or she can approve this particular case. In case if they need additional documents, they can basically put in a comment saying that additional documents are required, or they can put all good and send it for approval to the next stage. There you go, we have now approved it. When we click submit, the first level of approval is completed, and it is now passed on to the second layer of approval, which is the approval to be done by the registry administrator. Taking a step back, this configuration of registry administrator, clerks, and all those particular setup will be defined as part of the deployment. And the deployment demo is something that we would be doing in a separate video. But for now, this is going to highlight only the process flow within the system. Now we are logging in as the registry administrator. We've entered the credentials. Now the user has been logged in. Now again, he's going to be choosing from which area I've got this particular case. Now on the screen, now you can see the case has come to his approval, and he can review his subordinates or his peers or his colleagues' comments before he or she can approve this particular case. And he's now looking at it and says, okay, my team has already reviewed it, it's all good. So I would like to just take a quick peek at it. And once I am satisfied, I close this particular window and I say, we are good to go. I put my comment in and I'm saying I'm good to go. This case is ready to be filed. Once we click submit, it disappears from the document, the registry administrator's workbox, and it now is approved. The status of the document is completely approved, and as you can see in the list of all the approvals, this particular case number has been approved. It's a civil case, and the claimant and the defendant information are all filed in the system. Once we approved it, I'm now going back to the original claimant login where I filed the information, and I'm now logging into the system to review my case that I filed, whether it's approved or not. And the same status is going to be reflected right now, where he or she can see that, yes, my case has been approved and it has been admitted for further processing. Now, you can see both the statuses. It's completely good. It's now ready to be run through the judiciary to get this dispute resolved between the two parties. The case number is basically now legally assigned, Till now, it is not completely assigned. It is a generated number. But once the approval is done, this is the reference document, or this is the reference number using which the entire information is going to be transacted within this particular product. Once the additional information that we also configured, this is a work in progress where there are configurations that are in place to configure a cover page document, to configure the information that is being presented by both parties into a single case file, which is now basically again, like I said, it's a work in progress. It basically displays all the information that is being filed by the parties, the documents that you have uploaded, and also the information of the court in which this particular case has been filed. This particular case is now under processing by the courts. This is now started processing. The documents are now ready for processing and it can move forward. Now we log out of the system to show you the additional setup that we are basically going to demonstrate using how the defendant is going to basically take on this case. Now we've just filed the case, the claimant has filed the case. Now there has to be a response from the defendant. So what happens when the defendant receives the notification? He basically decides and he goes to a law firm, and that law firm decides to represent the defendant. And now in case for this particular demo, the defendant is now basically going to use this particular solicitor that logged into the system, and he is now going to file a form number 123A, in which he will basically choose a case number which is communicated to the defendant, and he searches the case number. This case number comes up with the details. The details is shown there as an attachment. The defendant's solicitor can review this information. He can basically look at the details that is filed, and once he's satisfied, he can go in and he can select the case form. Now, one thing that is important when you select the case form, it displays both the information of the cost associated with filing the case form, and it's basically showing the description of the case forms. So it's also got the cost, it's also got the description. Currently, the way we have planned this particular product is either the payment can be made immediately after the form is filed, or there can be a credit. And there are different parameters that can be configured in such a way that for some parties, the case form is basically going to, when you file, you get a option of getting a credit, or you get an option of paying immediately. So similar to the process of filing a claim, the same steps are involved. Some of the fields that are displayed here are completely configurable. You can remove the claimant again. You can remove the defendant information again because it's already available. If you need to fill it, if you want to add additional defendants, you can always add additional defendants. If you want to refute and file the case details in a different wordings, it can be done in a different wordings, and you counter file against the filing that has already been done. So once this is filed, the case is immediately assigned to this particular solicitor through the approval process. Again, once this joint case is processed, upon submission of this joint case document, it would be subjected to approval, wherein it would go through the document clerk's approval. It would also go through the approval of the registry administrator. Once it's cleared, then it would basically be approved. There are different views in here, wherein you can basically modify these fields as and when the configuration is deployed. Right now, these are just example fields, just for the demonstration purposes. Now, once these cases are filed, Once the defendant has filed his claim, we can basically type in a purpose saying that this is a counter filing for the claim that has been filed by Robert. So he or she, this particular situation, you can add more witnesses. If there are any other legal documents apart from the one submitted involved, you can add those documents. If you want to dispute it as instead of 20,000, you want to make it as 18,000. Maybe the claimant is filed it incorrectly, you can refile it as 18,000. And if there is a relationship between the claimant and the defendant, that also can be declared. These fields are just example fields. These can be configured again, and it can be set in such a way as per the requirements of the judiciary in which this is getting deployed. Once this is done, you can save the document. And now it's again gone into the draft status. The same process that we followed during the claim process, during the filing of the claim process would again be followed now. Upon submission, it would basically cycle it through to the document clerk, and it would basically highlight it as pending for approval. We again log out, again log in as the clerk. Select the joint case for approval. If you notice, there is two approvals now. One is the case form approval, which we used for the earlier approval of the claims. Now we are going to approve the joint case approval. You review the details that has been filed by the defendant's solicitor. If you find everything is good, you come back, you save, put a comment saying that approved, all good, approved. Once the approval process is done, this particular document has now been sent out to the next level of approval to the registry administrator. Logging in as the registry administrator again, so that I can process the case further for the defendant. Select the joint case form, going to the solicitor. I am now able to view the case that has been filed. I am able to review the comment history, and I see my colleagues have already approved it. So I basically check the details just to be double checking it. Once satisfied, I close the window. I give my approval. All good, approved. Submit. It's basically gone to the next stage where it is now approved, and it is now under filed the defendant's information, or the defendant's solicitor's information is now filed as part of the document, that case document. I am logging in now as my defendant, the company, defendant's company, and I can now view the forms that my particular joint case form, the form 123A that I had chosen, is now being approved by the document clerk as well as the registry administrator, and we are now ready to move to the next level. Now, having said that, this particular product is now a work in process. We have basically showcased the process of filing a claim and getting the defendant solicitor to join the case. There are additional things that have been planned for this particular product, including the setup of the hearing including the setup of confirming the registries, including the setup of confirming the dates for the hearing. Once the dates for the hearing is confirmed, the voice conferencing between the entire parties. Once the voice conferencing for the entire parties is basically going to capture all the information that has been discussed, all the comments that has been discussed is also going to be recorded. Upon the recording, the other options that are also going to be activated are to schedule calendars, where you schedule a calendar for each of the defendant, claimant, and the judges. In case if the calendar needs to be moved, the updates are also going to be trickled down to the different parties involved. The number of hearings are also going to be recorded. All the hearings are going to be recorded. Upon the final judgment, the case file that we had basically demonstrated earlier, that would basically carry authentication that this case is basically got a judgment and it is closed, and that particular information is also going to be stored in the system. All the case that has been executed, all the case that has been done would be captured. It's also going to be set up in such a way that this information is stored as a decentralized storage. This is something that is still work in process, wherein we have basically contemplated using blockchain technologies. It's a decentralized storage system which we are still setting up. It is partly set up. It is still not fully functional. It's a work in progress, as I mentioned earlier. Once the case is closed, the case information, the case details are all transmitted to the concerned parties, and the courts wrap up the case, and it is filed away as a record, and it is such that it never gets deleted. This is basically a summary of what our product is. This is the product that we are very proud of. We've put in a lot of energy and dedication to develop this. I hope you enjoyed this demo. There will be further demo sessions that will be demo videos, demo sessions that are planned. We will also be showcasing one more session for showing the deployment options. But as of now, I've come to the end of this particular demo. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your time.